Academy Showcase, SummaCor. Manish Wadhwa, MD, FHRS, FACC, FESC, Chief Executive Officer at SummaCor.
Next time, remind me to put less letters. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Manish Wadhwa. I'm the CEO of SummaCor. I'm here to talk to you about our portfolio of pulsatile pumps. So at SummaCor, our goal is to deliver pulsatile blood flow to clinical verticals requiring mechanical circulatory support. So what is pulsatile blood flow? So if you reach down and feel your wrist, you're feeling your pulse. And what you're feeling with your pulse is two things. One, you're feeling pressure, that 120/80 bounding, and the other thing that you're feeling is flow. If you actually take the product of pressure and flow, that actually represents power or energy over time. And that's important because what that actually represents when you're taking your pulse is the hemodynamic energy imparted by a pump. In this case, your pump is the heart. So we know what happens in the clinical space when you have non-pulsatile blood flow. And we know that because when you look at devices that are on the market today, they are predominantly non-pulsatile flow pumps. Pumps like the Impella, which is in the temporary mechanical circulatory support space, or the LVAD, or the ECMO devices, or the devices in the cardiopulmonary bypass space. If you see the image at the top of the graph, of the slide, what you see there is what's delivered with non-pulsatile blood flow. It's a flat line. You don't get that 120/80 bounding. And pulsatility, ladies and gentlemen, is normal human physiology. Hence, when you actually look at the litany of medical complications associated with non-pulsatile flow devices, you can actually trace these back to the fact that you are not delivering adequate hemodynamic energy into the blood. For example, when you do not adequately perfuse the capillaries, you end up with ischemic tissue. Ischemic tissue in the gut develops new blood vessels. Those new blood vessels bleed, and GI complication is a major complication of non-pulsatile flow pumps. When you look at the endothelium is a cell layer that resides within your blood vessels. This is a live tissue. It secretes nitric oxide, which is the most potent vasodilator known to man that protects your lungs. It also secretes von Willebrand's factor, which is a protein which is critical to clotting. Hence, once again, bleeding is a major complication associated with these devices. Lastly, there's receptors within the carotid and the aortic arch that sense hemodynamic energy. And when you fail to sense the hemodynamic energy, what ends up happening is you live in a hyperadrenaline state. A hyperadrenaline state is terrible for all organs, particularly the kidneys. So what we've developed is a linear displacement pump. And our linear displacement pump I'm going to talk to you about today is the linear cardiac assist pulsatile pump. And the way our pump works is that we have a nitinol self-expanding mesh. And within that self-expanding mesh, we actually, unfortunately, it looks like the left image is not running. But within that self-expanding mesh, we have an element which looks like a parachute. And that parachute drives the blood forward. As you can see on the right side, which is running, you see the pulsatile flow that's created. And then what happens is after the pulse is created, then the mechanism retracts against the flow of blood, collapses the parachute, and we drive again. Hence, we are able to deliver true pulsatile blood flow. So the target market for our LCAP would be the market that is currently served by intra-aortic balloon pumps and Impellas. In other words, there's two currently accepted medical indications that would be high-risk coronary stents and cardiogenic shock. The current penetration of these markets is about 35%. There's one emerging market, and that would be cardiorenal syndrome or the pre-shock state. When you add up the entire market, you're looking at a TAM of $8 to $11 billion. What we're really excited about is the fact that we can extend our technology of linear displacement to extracorporeal applications. We've done this in the lab, and we're actively working on additional studies to support this. So those extracorporeal applications would be ECMO, cardiopulmonary bypass, and then the organ procurement and perfusion space. When you take the total addressable market of these three verticals today, we're talking about $4 billion, with the organ procurement and perfusion space estimated in and of itself to be a $10 billion market by 2034. So when you look at our differentiators in the pulsatile flow space and our linear displacement technology, one, we create high flow with very low reciprocating rates. We can generate 5 liters of blood flow, which is normal, total normal cardiac output of a human, at 200 cycles a minute with our LCAP device and only 90 cycles per minute with our ECMO device. For comparison's sake, the Impella can generate only 2.5 liters, and to do so, it has to spin at 30 to 40,000 cycles a minute, not 200 or 90. And the result of that 30 to 40,000 cycle rate is that you have very high shear stress. Hence, our device is associated with very low shear stress, which limits the risk of hemolysis, bleeding, and thrombosis, which are major complications associated with these devices. I've already touched on the basis of pulsatile flow and how this has multi-organ impact. And lastly, as it pertains to our LCAP device, our device is very similar to the balloon pump, placed in the descending aorta, can be positioned within 90 seconds, and can be removed within 90 seconds. Hence, the target market is not only tertiary care centers, but also primary care centers where patients receive care. So to that end, we have achieved significant milestones to date. We have 7 issued positive displacement patents covering the US, Japan, and Europe. We've completed 28 porcine studies demonstrating excellent hemodynamics and safety. We've iterated our first generation LCAP product, and we're prepared for our first in-human study. And lastly, we're working on our regulatory our FDA pre-sub meeting targeting the pulsatile platform that we're working on delivering. Lastly, we were part of the MedTech Innovator cohort last year, and all our patent work has been done by Cooley. We have a list of medical advisors from top US medical institutions. Happy to discuss SummaCor further. Thank you very much for your time.